This is Joe from He Said, She Said. And I remember growing up, I always figured I was a pretty interesting child growing up. I always asked the question, why? I asked a lot of why questions. And now at a little over 34 years old, I still ask why. I ask why so much that my parents bought me the Book of Why. I believe that was the name of it. It was a why book. It had all these why questions and a lot of why answers. And I remember just looking up through the book. That was my fun. My fun was looking through that book to be able to say, okay, this is why. Why is the sky blue? Why does rainbows appear? Things like that. And recently, somebody asked me a question, why, that stumped me. The whys are good to ask, but it's also another thing when somebody asks you a why question and you're like, it's very interesting. And from listening to motivational speakers, influencers that I've spoken to personally, that is one of the things nowadays that you have to know. You have to know your why. The person asked me, what's your why? I'm like, I mean, it's an odd question to be approached with, even though you know your why, but to put it into words is very interesting. And if I can encourage anybody this morning to know what your why is. Why do you do what you do? Why do you behave the way that you behave? What? We're focused on the what, but let's get to the why first. We're all like, okay, what am I doing? Why are you doing? What's the reasoning for you waking up and going about your day the way that you go about your day? Why are you feeling the way that you're feeling? Is there something inside of you that's driving you? Or are you just doing it for the applause of other people, for the admiration, for the validation of other people? And in doing what God has led me to do daily, which is talk to you all, that why is so important for me to remember, because sometimes only a few of you look at it. And if I pay attention to how many of you look at it, and if I look at it as a job well done based upon how many people look at it versus who am I impacting by doing this? Who am I helping by doing this? Who am I stirring something in them to get them going, to motivate them, to inspire them, to elevate them to the height that God has called them to be? At that moment, I have to remember the why. And just like I have to remember it, you have to remember your why as well, because there's a reason why you were placed on this earth. God placed you on this earth for a purpose. And if we don't draw from the purpose, if we don't use that as motivation or inspiration, we're doomed. Life is going to be pretty boring, and we're going to be pretty unsatisfied. We're going to walk around. There's going to be a lot of voids inside of us. There's going to be we're going to be doing a lot of things that's distracting us, that's pulling us to the left, to the right, when we should be walking straight. And it's hard to follow something. It's hard to walk down a path if you don't know why. Why am I doing this? Why am I talking to y'all right now? If I ask myself that question and I don't know the answer to it, it's really hard for me to continue this video. It's really hard for me to continue to do this on a daily basis. God gives me something new to talk about every single day. And a lot of times it's something that either I experienced, I've seen other experience, or it's just something that he drops into my spirit and I just keep talking. But what is this doing? Why am I doing this? How is this helping people? God has called for me to talk about relationships. That is true. But why? Based upon the mistakes that I've made, I can show others how to not make the same mistakes. I can even show others the things that I thought was cool, the things that I thought was acceptable, and show them that, okay, I went left in that situation, but you can go right. Now, you can choose left all day after I've told you that, but the responsibility is on you. There's a special calling in each and every one of our lives, and it is imperative. I'll say that it's even mandatory, a requirement for us to figure it out. Too many of us are dying, not knowing why we're even created. And we make so many mistakes. There's so many different cycles. There's so many different things that are pulling us in certain directions. But the only direction is the one that you've been given. Follow your own personal GPS for your life. Don't turn it off when it gets familiar. Don't turn it off when you think that you already know the route. Keep it on. Keep listening to the instructions of that GPS. As you find out your why, as you discover your why. And again, it goes right back to community as well. Who's around you that's helping you? Who has God placed around you that's going to help you? Will you listen to them? We need to be able to know our why in order for our what, our how, our when to make sense. We have to know that why. It starts with why, and then everything else branches from there. Find out your why. Start today. Write it down. Ask people, what am I good at? Why do I make you feel this way? And I guarantee you, once you find out your why, life will be a lot more fulfilling. Even if you're not in the right position, you'll know that this is just a stepping stone, a step in the right direction. This is a step that's going to get me eventually to where I need to be. Why am I shooting this video? Why are you looking at this video? It's not by chance. It's by appointment.